How to store fresh marjoram, if it's in dried leaves or ground. Does it need to be refrigerated? Can it be frozen if you're not going to eat it all? In this video, we explain some ways to store marjoram to prevent it from spoiling too quickly. Ways to store marjoram. Fresh raw marjoram should not be kept at room temperature as it spoils very quickly. Place it inside a plastic bag with a damp paper towel and store it in the fridge. It can last up to 2 weeks in the fridge if it's not removed from the cold. If the temperature isn't consistent, it will last only about 4 days. Dried marjoram leaves can be kept at room temperature in a dark, cool, and dry place, away from sunlight. Store it in an airtight container, as exposure to air causes oxidation. At room temperature, dried leaves can last up to 3 years without spoiling. But be careful. If the environment is too humid, mold can form. As for ground-dried marjoram, it should also be kept at room temperature in a cool, dry, and dark place, away from sunlight. Store it in an airtight container to prevent oxidation. It can last up to 4 years at room temperature, but again, be cautious of mold. Can marjoram be frozen? You can freeze fresh marjoram if you won't use it all within 14 days. Wash it and remove any bad parts, then let it dry, using paper towels to help if necessary. After drying, chop or cut it as desired. Place it in a freezer-safe bag, like a Ziploc, and store it in the freezer. It can last up to 6 months without losing its properties. Another method is to freeze it in an ice cube tray with a bit of water. Once frozen, remove the cubes, transfer them to a freezer-safe bag, and return them to the freezer. How to tell if it's spoiled. Fresh marjoram usually loses its color and becomes limp. If it looks odd, don't eat it, throw it away. For dried marjoram, whether in leaves or ground, it typically doesn't spoil. What happens is that it loses its flavor and won't add anything to your dishes. To check if it's still good, rub some in your palm, taste, or smell it. If you barely detect any aroma or flavor, discard it. But never taste it if there's mold.